Video play through once here for you so you can see what's happening. All right, as we take this back, so we got high leg lift, which is good. Nice little angle, which is getting our front hip out to lead the way. Okay, but now let's watch this backside leg here. And as we go out, how this back knee here just folds in. Okay, back knee is just collapsing inwards. And then we get into front foot strike here. Boom. We're at front foot strike. And we see that these hips have barely rotated. They started here, and they got only to here by the time that foot got in the ground. But yet, when we see, in order for the ball to come out of our hands, these hips got to get all the way to here. Okay? So that means our lower body is doing the vast majority of its rotation after this front foot gets into the ground at foot strike. And we know all the power that this lower body can produce comes from linear drive going to the target and rotational force by rotating the lower body. Both of those actions need to occur prior to this front foot hitting the ground. Because once this front foot hits the ground, whatever the lower body has done in terms of creating power and energy, it now gets sent up to the upper body. And now the upper body takes that energy and uses it to make the upper body's movements faster, quicker, and with less stress on the shoulder. However, if the lower body does not go through those motions prior to front foot strike, it's not supplying now power to the upper half. So now the upper half has to work harder, more aggressively, and more chaotically to try to make up the power that your lower body did not send up to the upper body. Now the upper body tries to produce the same amount of power all on its own. And now the arm is having to go through more stress. It's working harder, and it's more chaotic of movements. Okay? Excuse me. So we're going to see how this back foot just kind of comes off, and then we're in the ground. Okay? This back foot hasn't rotated until now. So look at all this rotation that we get in this backside after that foot's already in the ground. That rotation on the backside is now only occurring because the shoulders are rotating. And as the shoulders now rotate, because that's what they do after this foot gets on the ground, we rotate the throw. Every single little movement that your upper body does in terms of rotating is going to have to pull and rotate and drag this entire backside leg. Because the backside leg did not do the movements that it needed to do on time, and that is get to here, the only way that these are going to get there now is because the shoulder is going to be rotating. So the shoulder's rotating, and so are the hips. So your shoulder now is pulling this entire back leg through rotation and out towards the target. So now the upper body pulling all this cannot work as hard or as fast, cannot work as quick, cannot work as effortlessly because it's pulling this big, huge part of your body while it's trying to do that movement. So now that we finally get these hips all the way turned through, we can see how much our upper body has already opened up to allow that movement to occur. Let's take a look at some comparables for you with a younger guy. And let's just watch where he gets at front foot strike, right? Back it up right here. Okay, his foot gets into the ground. Look where his belt's at. Hips are all the way rotated. This side's turned over. So that way, as he goes to throw, watch how it's primarily upper body out in front. It's him out in front. It's him out in front. Because of the position that he gets into at front foot strike. Everything's rotated with the lower body. Upper body is waiting for that energy to get sent up. It's being sent up right now, and now he's taking it over with more power out in front through rotation. Okay, so if we get him to about right here, we get you to a comparable spot would be here with where the hands are at. Let's just look at the differences in the body and who's got more power. Hips, look how far away the hips have gone from the rubber. He's leading with the hips. Look how the hips go, 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 go. And he doesn't even have the advantage of being on a mound to be able to go even longer because the ground's getting further away from his foot. Okay? You're here, you're just standing up, and now you're just playing catch. That's all you're doing. You're just playing catch. We got to lead with the hip. You get the hip out in front, but then we don't lead with it. It's just the whole body. Look how your whole body is going forward here. Your whole body is going forward the same exact plane, straight forward. You're just playing catch. You just stay in the same spot and you're just playing catch. Versus getting these hips out in front and getting those shoulders loaded up and then get the body going out. See that angle he's creating? That's a strong angle. The hips, strong angle. You're over here and you're working pretty much neutral and neutral with your hips. So now you get into foot strike and your foot strike, and also notice how you're going heel first. We got to get that foot to land flat on the ground all at once. You're already in the ground with the heel, and now we just fall forward still with that. Okay, so foot strike, we're there, versus getting into foot strike by driving that back leg. Watch this back knee. Drive and rotate. Drive and rotate. That's the back foot. Drive, rotate. Drive, rotate. Okay. Versus you just stepping and just going straight forward, everything just straight across. Versus strength. Weight is back. Your weight this entire time is just right in the middle here. And now your weight's falling forward. And now you're already here. By the time that foot gets fully into the ground, you're way out in front here. Versus foot being in the ground, right here. See the difference in the chest? Fully side to side versus yours going on an angle over there towards first base side on deck circle. Okay. Okay. So we know once this front foot hits the ground, all we do is rotate to throw the ball. Rotate out in front. Rotate out in front, so then we continue to just rotate to finish. But because you don't use your backside, your lower body on time, and we're just stepping and throwing, your lower body, like we said, now gets pulled by your upper body. So now the lower body is getting pulled, and that's why that foot comes off the ground pretty early. And then watch where all your weight's going now. Out in front. We need that weight to be going down and around. We need to throw this ball down this mound, but we can see that ball's going up out of your hand. It needs to be going down. So our body and our trunk, our chest, needs to be going down. But you just keep going forward. And it's all because we're not using this backside leg at all. We're just letting the knee fall because we're just stepping and throwing. We're just playing catch. And now we just got nothing with the lower body. So the upper body's got to work harder. And now we're just stuck here throwing. Barely able to get the ball out in front of us. So we got to start driving off this back leg. We need to put energy into the rubber this way so your body goes this way. Drive into the rubber to get you going away from the rubber. Lead with the hips. That's why we lift that leg on an angle, not to lift it on an angle and then just for the shoulder to catch right back up to the hip. All right. We need that hip leading the way as long as we can. Oops. All right. We need that hip to start out in front. But then it needs to lead the way. You just put that foot down, and then your chest gets right above your hips again, and now you're just in a neutral playing catch position instead of a pitcher's driving downhill. Driving down. Versus no lower body activating on time, so the upper body's got to work harder and pull that through, and now we kind of just get the ball to come out of our hand. And the body goes up after that. You throw, and now you're going up. We need to throw and go down. We get one big leaguer for you to compare this to and see that backside working. We can do someone like that Granke. So at the top of the leg lift, hip is out in front. The hip continues to stay out in front. Look at the angles that we got. Positive, strong angles. Keeping those strong, positive angles for as long as you can. And then we flip those angles. Come down with the ball. Okay? So now let's watch this backside leg here. Knee's got to stay back. If the knee falls in, and you need to rotate it that way, now you're rotating with less. If you're rotating with less, you're creating less power. We need to create as much power as possible. We need to keep this knee over this foot as long as possible. So that way when it comes time to rotate it, we have it rotating. Look at that kneecap. We can see that kneecap rotating. And what's happening with this back foot? We're driving away from the rubber. We're driving into the rubber for our body to go away from it. So watch the foot start to drive through that big toe, away from the rubber, and then we got to rotate. And all of this has to happen before this front foot hits the ground. All before this foot hits the ground. Okay? Need everything coming through here versus heel just coming up off the ground. You're not driving away from the rubber. You're just rolling that foot around because the knee has rolled so far around that it's time for the foot now to catch up to it. So now you're just rolling that foot over. That's why now it kicks behind you. Why is it kicking behind you? Because like we said, the throwing shoulder is doing all these movements for it, and the throwing shoulder is going this way. It's coming this way, so this is going to have to go that way. And now you got two motions that are opposite of each other at the most explosive part of your delivery where we need to be the most stable. We need to be stable. And then come up and around. Versus up and through. Okay, it's all because of how we're using this backside. So we've got to get more aggressive. We got to put force into the rubber for force to come out. And when we pitch, we need to get strong and create as much power as possible with every single throw. The more power we create with our body, the less stress that goes on in our arms. And if you want to be able to throw 70, 80, 90 pitches in a game on Friday and still be able to play a position come Saturday, come Sunday, we can't be making those 60, 70, 80 throws with just our arm. We got to use our entire body so the arm just follows everything else. So the arm just follows this energy of the lower body. Wham, wham, Now the upper body just follows suit. No stress.